right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. All right. I'm so excited. Thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it. We are in a different venue this year. They had something going on at the Grand, so I appreciate everybody kind of bearing with us as we kind of, maneuver from one location here to over here to the theater. I want to thank the Georgia Sports Hall of Fame. They have been so accommodating. If anyone out there knows, and I have events, they say D.A. Howard's team comes in and they just kind of take over. And so I want to thank the Georgia Sports Hall of Fame for being such a great host. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, good morning. I am Anita Howard, and I'm honored to serve as a district attorney of the Macon Judicial Circuit. And this is our third annual Changing the Face of Justice Day. And we are so excited to present to the community all that we have been doing, things we talked about doing last year that we have done this year. We want to let you all know how those things are going and also how you can get involved. That's the number one question that I get. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started. So as you can see, this year we have added members to our team, and we have about 70 employees in 3 counties, in 4 buildings. In one building, we have 5 floors. So we have a lot going on at the DA's office, and you see there our mission. We had to update our mission so that we could more accurately reflect our goals in executing the vision that we promised to the people. Here you will see intake versus close and how we've been doing every year. Some people say, how many cases? And I'm going to move around a little bit. So if y'all can't hear me, let me know. I'll get a mic. But here you'll see, can y'all hear me in the back? Right. All right, excellent. So here you'll see how many cases in blue that come into our office every year and how many cases we're disposing of. It's very important that those numbers be close together. Of course, thank you so much. Of course, we would like for the closed case number to exceed the intake number. As you see for 2022, we were able to accomplish that. And you see we're kind of neck and neck for 2023. As of right now, that's how many cases have come into our office, and that's how many cases that we have disposed of. So that lets you know the work that we're doing there in the office. Now, we talked about this last year, but we completely revamped the grand jury. What does that mean? We are able to present more cases to the grand jury than ever before with fewer sessions. So that is a savings of taxpayer dollars. You see in 2019, 598 cases were presented to the grand jury, and you see each year we have exceeded that number, and we are on track to exceed the 924 number. We're not going to count 2022. We all had to get through that pandemic, but we just wanted you to know what those numbers were. Number of trials that we have had. As you can see, how many trials we had in 2021 versus 2022 versus where we are in 2023. And as you can see for our murders, we're at a 93% conviction rate. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And you know, that's through the barriers that we have of people not wanting to testify, people not wanting to get involved. Some things that we don't often talk about, we have to get material witness warrants signed so that witnesses and victims come in to testify so that we can adequately prosecute cases. And so one other thing that has helped us is our intake investigative unit. This is something new that we talked about last year at the Changing of Face of Justice Day, and we implemented that. And what does that mean? That means that we have those individuals, and the cases that they work on are those cases which are the most egregious that we have in our office. And so those are your murders, those are your sex and crimes against children, your domestic violence cases, and your serious violent felony cases. Right here alone in this unit, we have 180 119 years of law enforcement experience. And they go through these cases with a fine tooth comb. And I know we hear about the national, statewide, and local shortage of law enforcement officers. How are we still able to get done all that we're doing? It's one of the main reasons. It's because of this team right here. They review the cases. We're able to cure deficiencies. We know that law enforcement, they do a great job, and we have great relationships with law enforcement. I know I saw Sheriff Walker as well as Sheriff Davis here, and I thank them so much. And we work very well with Sheriff Deese in Peach County in his office. But we know that it's better to work with them sooner than later, and their standard is probable cause. And that's simply that, number one, a crime has been committed, and number two, it's more probable than not that this is the person that did it. That's the lowest standard in our criminal justice system. Well, you come over to my office in order to get to successfully get a conviction, we have to have beyond a reasonable doubt. That is the highest level of proof that's needed. So we need investigators to continue to work those cases to get them to that level oftentimes. So what exactly has this unit been doing? As you can see here, so in 2021, we were able to close 12 murder cases in our office. 2022, 24 cases. And in 2023, this is as of May, we've already closed 20 murder cases in the DA's office. Now, I need these folks to stop what they're doing so we can, these numbers can really put a greater dent in what's going on. We need them to stop what they're doing, out in the streets. But we're definitely, you can see the numbers here and how this unit has benefited us. So one of the units that we created, which all the units are necessary, all the units are very important. But I've been a prosecutor for 18 years, and there are certain moments during my 18-year career that I won't ever forget. And I will never forget when a community that, I love and spent a lot of time in as a child in Peach County, and a school, the Fort Valley State University, was looking for a missing young lady by the name of Anitra Gunn. And everybody was looking, everybody was concerned. Her body was found, and we successfully prosecuted that case. And that gentleman that killed her received a life sentence. But I thought to myself, after that verdict, I remember her dad he couldn't even make it up to our office. He stepped outside the courtroom, and he fell to his knees, and he started screaming her name. Those screams will never, ever leave my memory. And I knew then that he had just experienced a parent's worst nightmare, sending your child out to school and your child not returning. And I said, we did succeed in this prosecution, but what else can we do? And that's when we formed our domestic violence unit. And you say, well, why do we need this? Because we have statistics. And sometimes people say statistics just to kind of shock people, right? But the point of statistics means that you can begin to prevent the statistic, right? That if this is more probable, then this is an area we need to focus on. So as you can see, the data shows us that a person who survives a non-lethal choking or strangulation in a domestic violence relationship, they are 750% more likely to be killed by their offender in the next year. So we cannot know that statistic and leave this room the same way. That means we have to do more. And then people often say, well, what can be done? Well, one of the things that we did is we partnered with Fort Valley Police Department for their Citizens Law Academy. And we began to educate the community on signs to look for as it relates to domestic violence, and to take all those signs serious and report those signs, and where can folks get services so that we can become aware and we can prevent any more cases like that of the senseless life of Anitra Gunn that was taken. So what else have we done? We have updated the AV equipment in our major crimes courtroom in the courthouse here in Bibb County, where you saw those, how many cases have been tried, all that. Most of that work was done in this courtroom. And that there had not been an update in that courtroom for years. And we are thankful to have video in some of our cases, and we want to make sure that the jurors are seeing very clearly what's on that video. So we added two 85-inch televisions, as well as we have a drop-down screen that's right in front of that jury box. And that was paid for by your DA's office, over $100,000 with forfeiture funds. Because any barrier that we have to prosecution, it is my job as your district attorney to figure out how to overcome those barriers and obtain justice for crime victims. And that is what we did. Beyond Mulberry. So we often hear about victim advocates, and I'm so thankful. I see Mayor Miller here. Thank you for being here. I saw some of the commissioners. We're so thankful that we have a mayor and we have a commission that adequately funds the DA's office's budget. And one of the things that they fund that is necessary are victim advocates. And a lot of times people think they just provide information. But y'all, these are really the heroes in my office. They do it all, including, as you can see here, on the floor, playing with children while the mom or their caretaker is in court testifying. This happens often. We just tried a triple murder and a kidnapping case. We were successful in that prosecution, but the little boy that got kidnapped, he had to have somebody to stay with him. And you know who did it? It was my victim advocates. And they oftentimes, and I tell them try not to do this, but they miss their lunch and they do things of that nature. But they do just a wonderful job. And that team is led by Pam Faison. And you see here, they provided over 28,000 services to 4,000 victims. In fact, when we had our audit, they were going to make sure that they were ready. They had everything together. And typically in audits, you get, this is what you all can improve on. And we were ready for that, right? I always tell my staff there's opportunities for improvement. We strive for excellence, but there's opportunities for improvement. Well, we did not get, these are the things that you all need to improve on. We did not get, you all did just simply an excellent job. We actually got, there are things that deserve praise. The office is very organized and has both a friendly and inviting atmosphere and staff. They commented during the audit about our outreach that we do. We provide adequate information to crime victims about different kind of support that we offer in the community and support that other agencies offer. And so kudos to my victim advocates. Thank you all so much for the work that you do. Hello, I'm Anita Howard, District Attorney for the Macon Judicial Circuit. No one expects to be a victim of crime, but when they are, our team of trained victim advocates are here to inform them of their rights and to help them navigate the criminal justice system.
When a case comes into our office, our first response is to contact the victim. If the victim is deceased, we contact the spouse, an adult child, a parent, a sibling, or a grandparent.
Georgia law defines the individual that we contact to provide victim information. That individual can then share that information with other family members or interested parties.
When we meet victims, we're often meeting them at one of their most lowest moments, when they are most vulnerable. Our job is to empower and educate by making them aware of their rights.
Every victim has the right to be notified of any scheduled court proceeding, to speak with the prosecuting attorney, to attend and be heard at court proceedings. They also have the right to restitution and compensation and to be treated fairly and respectfully. Our office also has a special victim advocate, Lamar, who is a trained emotional support animal. Lamar, with his calm demeanor and friendly disposition, helps to lower the stress and anxiety levels for our victims, especially our child victims.
For our team, being a victim advocate is not just a job, it's a calling.
Victims have rights, and we're here to serve you. So you say, well, D.A. Howard, why do you do these PSAs and these, moments with D.A. Howard? We do those because oftentimes, again, people don't know what the law is. And you may see someone say, well, I didn't get notified. Y'all, we do not notify every single person in the family. The law clearly defines who we notify, and then we ask that individual to please share that information with other family members and loved ones. And we know that sometimes there's turmoil in the family, but we need everybody to come together and share that information. I would need probably 3 times the number of advocates if we notified every single person. So if you ever hear somebody say, the DA's office didn't notify me, I want you to ask them, did they notify anybody in your family? Because the law is very clear what order we are to notify. And we created this video because we kept getting that question, or we kept getting concerns about that, and we wanted to make sure that people know. So when people call into our office, victims, we send them this link so they'll know, and their expectations can be met in a satisfactory manner. So you saw we talked about Lamar. So Lamar, this is his second circuit that he has worked in. The first circuit that Lamar worked in was when I was in ADA with the Talladega Judicial Circuit. And he primarily works with children who have been victims of sexual abuse. I went to a conference with the National District Attorneys Association. It was in Texas, St. Pete, Texas. And I don't know if you all remember the case where there was a gentleman that went into the movie theater with an orange wig on doing Batman. Well, that DA had an emotional support dog in his office. It was the first time that I heard of it. I was an ADA, and I thought, well, this is great, because he was talking about how influential the dog was. And so myself and Chief Assistant Cindy Adams, Sheriff Gary Long in Butts County, they had Butts Mutts that they were doing, similar to, I think they modeled it after Sheriff Davis's Bondable Pups. So anyway, we went over there to Butts County, and we saw Lamar, and we thought, you know what? He seems like he's got a great demeanor. I took him to training at Atlanta. It was Susie with Atlanta Dog Trainer in Milton, Georgia. He had 6 sessions. The sessions were 3 weeks apart, and then he had a test after the session. And so he has been working now here in this circuit. And as you can see, that top picture, that young girl, her mother was killed. And this was during the trial. And people have a lot of anxiety, especially during the trial when they're waiting. But the children especially are able to interact with Lamar to lessen those anxieties. And the child abuse protocol, which every circuit has one, ours says, and this is my mandate that's in the child abuse protocol, the district attorney will ensure any necessary and appropriate accommodations or arrangements are in place to minimize the potential trauma to children. And that is exactly what Lamar does. So we're glad to have him as a special advocate in our office. So you saw all the work that we're doing with prosecution, but one of the things that is a mission of mine is to offer hope. And hope is very simple: believing in yourself, believing in others, and believing in your dreams. And I know that oftentimes our homicide victims, their families, obviously, they don't have a lot of hope. And the wheels of justice are turning. But obviously, we have a lot more cases, especially murder cases to prosecute. And so I began to think around Thanksgiving, what could we do? A time that we're all getting ready to celebrate with our families. Everybody's getting excited, talking about what this one's going to make. This auntie didn't make good macaroni and cheese, so we really don't want her to make it. So, all of those kind of things that we're talking about, I began to ponder about how we could offer hope to these families. And so we had our first ever Hope and Healing Luncheon this year, and we invited 100 families. They were able to meet in person, the assistant district attorneys that were handling their cases, talk to them about their families, see that they're real people. Sometimes they think, if you don't know somebody, you don't see somebody, you just kind of don't know what they may be like. They got opportunity to meet the victim advocates. I want to thank Pastor Stanley over at Union for his partnership. He allowed us to kind of take over. And I thank you for doing that, but it was really a blessing. I see Monica Swain here. Thank you, Monica. She actually provided words of inspiration, tools of grief that they could take away to process. And they were very, very thankful for that. So we will be doing that again this year, and we'll be doing it the Thursday before Thanksgiving. And so if you would like more information about that, let me know. We had faith leaders there, other certified counselors, because you never know what a person's triggers are. But we just want an opportunity to say to these families, we have not forgotten about you, and we're here. And so that was a great event that we had. And Beyond Mulberry, I'm sure a lot of you have heard about this. So we will be opening up satellite offices in the community for our RISE initiative as well as victim services. This is the first time that the DA's office in this circuit has had satellite offices. I truly believe that you must meet the need of the people wherever they are. And so that is why we're opening up those satellite offices. We'll have 2 Tuesdays over at Lundy Chapel in North Macon, and we'll have the other 2 Tuesdays will be at Unionville. We'll have non-traditional hours of 10 to 7 where individuals can come in, sign their children up for RISE. Also, they can learn about all of the victim services that are offered to them. So we're very, very excited about that. Then you see the desk. So we have a 1 o'clock ribbon cutting. So when I first got to office here, the DA's office was handling all of the record restrictions. And we have an ADA that's assigned to that. But sometimes someone will not qualify for a record restriction, but they may qualify for a retroactive first offender or some other mechanism in the law. But we at the DA's office cannot provide legal advice. We cannot fill out motions for people. We cannot do that as lawyers in a prosecution office. And so I began to talk with Middle Georgia Justice and Judge Adams about how we could possibly have a centralized portal that they actually oversee and they operate. And we've been talking about that now, y'all, for over a year and a half. And every time him and I talk, and we partner on other things, but I always mention, hey, are we any closer to the desk? All right, he probably got tired of me asking, but I'm happy to announce that today at 1 o'clock, we are going to have the ribbon cutting for the desk. And so individuals will be able to go there and get advice, they'll have their GCICs, but they'll be able to get advice about record restriction. And this is so critical. It's critical to employment. It's critical to housing. And this is, when people are employed, we have safer communities. So that is why the DA's office is involved in this mission.
Being in this program, I can say that it really boosted my confidence. Like in my relationship with my mom, it made that bond stronger. So now what they see in me, I now also see in myself. Encouragement. They push me to better myself for me, for them and also for my mom. The encouragement with them with the RISE program, it was there. So now, like I said before, what I didn't see in myself, the RISE program seen in me. So now I also see that in myself.
So, Jasana was one of our graduates from our inaugural class last year. We started the initiative December. We launched it December of 2021, and we had our first graduating class of RISE December of 2022. We had 26 graduates. We had 21 from Bibb County. We had 5 from Peach County. And her story is the reason why we have RISE. Some of us need encouragement, right? And for this young lady to be her relationship with her mom to be completely reformed, her confidence in herself. My RISE team, they continuously check on her. They check on their kids. Just because the kids graduate, we're not done. They built relationships with these kids. And when she said encouragement, I had to hold it together. I was like, nobody wants a crying DA, right? So I just had to pull it together. So I didn't expect for her to say that. I didn't know what she was going to say. But she is one of our graduates, and we want to thank her for her bravery and just wanting to tell her story. And when she got done and the cameras went off, we were at 13 WMAZ there in the studio, and she just ran into my arms and she started crying. I said, "Are you okay?" She says, "I'm so happy." And so you say we're talking about RISE. What is RISE? So RISE is restoring inspiration by success in education. And that is where we identify youth who have unmitigated trauma and we offer them services to address that trauma. Well, when we first started with RISE, we started taking children at about age 7. Well, recently we added a pediatric psychiatrist to our team, and we're able to accept kids as young as 3 years old because we know that is the age that some of those behaviors begin to be exhibited. And we are doing this because if we can treat that trauma, we can divert these youth from our criminal justice system. And we, as many people know, we received a federal grant for the RISE initiative, as well as we use forfeiture dollars for the RISE initiative. But I'm going to make an announcement here today, and we are so excited about it. It's always good when somebody calls you and says, "Hey, you should apply for this." It's a little bit different than you calling somebody and saying, "Hey, I want to apply." Well, we got a call from Congressman Sanford Bishop's office, a long-standing public servant. And we got a call from his office that said he has heard about the RISE initiative and he wants to support the RISE initiative. And they told us how to apply for congressional dollars. Well, we applied for $240,000 for our RISE initiative. And 2 days ago, we were told we got approved for the $240,000. So we're excited. And so what does that mean? So what are you going to do? What are you going to do with additional dollars? So right now, the $750,000 grant is for those most severe cases, right? But we know that if we can expand those services and start earlier, we can address this trauma sooner. And so that $240,000 will go directly to the children that are in that low to mid-level range so that we can start addressing that trauma earlier so that they won't become a part of the criminal justice system. And one thing that was really special, too, about our RISE initiative is the Merry Christmas Project. Again, I say it's good when people call you. So they called us, Mike and Jamie Kaplan, and they said, "We've heard about the RISE initiative, and we would like the graduates of the inaugural class to be recipients of the Merry Christmas Project." So what does that mean? So Mike's daughter, Mary, passed, and she loved Christmas. Her name was Mary. She loved Christmas. And they wanted to do something in her memory, something to keep her memory going and make sure that people knew about her. And so that's how they started the Merry Christmas Project. And what they do is individuals who are part of this project, they get $100 to go to Walmart. That's each family member. So what that meant for my RISE graduates is for the first time, number one, these children, a lot of them, they finished what they started, right? There's a blessing in that, right? Because oftentimes people start stuff and they don't finish it, but these children finished what they started, and they were able to provide Christmas for their families that they wouldn't have otherwise gotten because they finished what they started. Y'all, we had mamas in Walmart crying. I mean, they were buying Christmas trees. We don't have a tree. This is like the 20th. I was like, we only got 5 more days. It's like, we want a tree. Well, get your tree. And so they were getting trees, necessity. One family got a laptop, because they didn't have a computer for their child. So I just want to thank the partnership with Mike and Jamie with the Merry Christmas Project. I saw Jamie somewhere. They got this light, so I can't really see faces, but I saw Jamie. So thank you all again. I'm District Attorney Anita Howard. If you're a teacher, pastor, administrator, or simply a concerned citizen and know a child in Bibb, Crawford, or Peach County that has experienced homelessness, domestic violence, the loss of a parent by death or incarceration, refer them to RISE. Our RISE initiative provides mentorship and counseling by offering hope and healing. Become a RISE ambassador today. Call 478-245-6926. Together, we can make a difference. So what other youth initiatives do we have? Well, we have our Junior Justice League. And the first year, 2021, the theme was Keep Swinging in honor of Hank Aaron and all that Hank Aaron had achieved. The second year was Operation Hype, helping youth prepare, engage, and excel. We have a day at the courthouse. They typically get to eat with Sheriff Davis. They eat lunch with Sheriff Davis on the stage at the Grand. A lot of these kids have never been to the Grand. Some maybe they have, but they've never been on stage, so they're really excited. And we want them to have positive, and thank you so much. We want them to have positive interactions with law enforcement, so they get really excited about that. We went to the Fort Valley State University, visit their farm. We partnered with Dr. Hodges and Dr. Ferguson, and they had Vet for a Day there. We went to the Georgia Museum of Agriculture, and we also went to Atlanta United soccer game. So we have June and July where we have activities for those youth, learning opportunities. And you say, well, who can be a part of the Junior Justice League? Well, our Junior Justice League is made up of children who are victims, okay? And so our victim advocate, our team, they pulled together a list of children for us to invite, and this is for this year. So this year is Project Epic, Empowered Peacemakers Inspiring Change. And as you will see, these are the youth that have been invited to our Junior Justice League. Your largest category is always going to be those children who've experienced or witnessed cruelty to children, aggravated assault, or some kind of family violence incident. You're always going to see a large percentage of children who are victims of sexual assault and child molestation. This chart is kind of common that we've had each year. You see there are going to be 2 children from Bibb County that were invited, that their parents were victims of homicide. And then you see there's 2 children from Bibb County who were victims of rape. And so these are the children that are invited to the Junior Justice League, because we just want to give them more support as they are crime victims, and give them an opportunity in the summer that they would not otherwise have had. They've had a lot taken from them, and we can't give back what's been taken, but we're going to do our best to offer them hope. And then we're excited. We're excited about our partnership. I saw Dee Sims. I saw Sarah Shank. We're excited about our Family Justice Center. that we'll be having here in the Macon Judicial Circuit. We are one of 3 locations in the state of Georgia, the first 3 locations to have a family justice center. That is where entities, agencies come together and co-locate to help victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, and also to even offer some services to their children. I was honored last month to receive the inaugural Hope Hero Award from One Safe Place Macon. Awards that always kind of, y'all have seen me get a lot of awards. I'm really blessed. I thank God for that. But the ones that are centered around our kids, they just always hold a special place in my heart. So I did receive that inaugural award last year for our partnership. And you say, well, what's the partnership? Well, yes, we've had some, we've helped with some of their fundraisers. And the DA's office is actually funding the first Camp Hope. So what does that mean? So the children that are serviced at One Safe Place Macon will have an opportunity to go to camp for a week. It's Camp Hope. And I told you we were one of the first 3 family justice centers. We are the first Camp Hope America affiliate in the state of Georgia. And so we're excited about that. And I told Dee and Sarah we were going to have Camp Hope. When they brought the idea to me, we're going to have it. And I was going to do everything in my power to make sure it's successful so the children won't have to pay anything. But more important than that, a few weeks ago, Sarah sent an email and said, we're still needing volunteers. So I told my victim services director, Pam Faison, I said, go around the office and see if you can get me some volunteers. And these volunteers are coaches and counselors that are going to stay with the children. Some stay in the cabin, some stay in the other facility there in Rutledge, just depending on their age. But we have 12 volunteers from the DA's office. They're going to be there all week with the kids, ranging from age 18 to 58. And so we're excited about that. We're very excited about that. And the camp starts actually July 15th, and I think it will end on the 21st. I'm District Attorney Anita Howard. We are offering hope and saving lives with our anti-co-sleeping initiative. Through local partnerships with the Women's Missionary Society of the AME Church and Pilot Club, we've given away over 100 bassinets and have provided safe sleeping and CPR education for new and expectant moms. Our efforts are being recognized statewide by the governor and GBI. Save a life. Donate a bassinet. All right, so I remember in 2021 at Changing the First of Justice Day, that's when we launched our campaign against co-sleeping. And I remember then Miss Gwenberg coming up to me and said, the Women's AME, we'll love to do that with you. We'll partner with you. Well, a lot of times people tell you they're going to do something, but let me tell you, the Pilot Club and the Women's Missionary Society, the AME Women's Missionary Society, they showed up and they showed out. I think they even made it a little competition. I see their president here, President Moore, and so they were just bringing in those bassinets and those pack and plays, and we were doing it because, and then you say, well, why are you involved in that, D.A. Howard? Well, the law requires the legislature, and I see one of them sitting right here on that front row, Miss Miriam Parrish. Thank you for being here. So, and I know I saw Senator Lucas here somewhere as well. But the legislature, what they do is they created a statute that says every child death in a circuit must be reviewed by the district attorney. And so for me, we were reviewing these deaths, but you know how your DA is, right? I just can't review the death. I want to stop the deaths. And so as we began to review the deaths, a lot of these deaths of the children, you had your deaths that were, related to violence. And unfortunately, you had some of the deaths related to suicide. Some were natural causes. But we had a significant category that was because of unsafe sleeping environments. And when you're in a county that has a 27.5% poverty rate, first of all, maybe everyone can't afford a pack and play or a bassinet. Secondly, do folks know infant CPR, right? Do they know the dangers? And, I was telling somebody this earlier today. I am a prosecutor, But my dad, who passed in 2020, he was on the board of education, led education. Got my mom right here. She's an educator. So I think I still feel like I'm a teacher at times. And so that's probably why I do all of this that I do. It's just natural. And so I began to think, how can we educate people on the dangers of co-sleeping? Because many of you slept with your children in the bed, right? Let me get a show of hands. There's no shame. When we know better, we do better, right? But many of you slept with your children in the bed, and praise God, your children are fine. Well, now we know that's not the best way to do things. And so we wanted to educate our community, and we were so just enthused when the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, out of all the DA's offices in the state of Georgia, they recognized us, and we received the GBI Child Fatality Review Committee's Prevention Award of the Year in 2022. And that's because of all of our partnerships, but specifically our two main partners, the Macon Conference Women's Missionary Society of the AME Church and Pilot Club International of Macon. They are truly helping us to offer hope and to save lives. And again, thank you. I'm Anita Howard, District Attorney for the Macon Judicial Circuit. Human sex trafficking is an issue we usually think only occurs in other cities. The truth is, because of online recruitment, we all need to ensure our children are protected. A 2020 Polaris Human Trafficking Study reported a Facebook recruitment increase of 125% over last year and 95% increase on Instagram. Unfortunately, children ages 12 through 14, especially those that run away from home, are most targeted by human traffickers. Here are a few reminders to help prevent our children from being at risk. Encourage them not to chat or engage in relationships on the internet or social media with people they don't know. Under no circumstances should a child agree to meet with a stranger. They should never give out their personal information online, such as name, address, or telephone number. Encourage your children to never accept unusual, expensive gifts that are not from their parents or normal providers. Human sex trafficking is a crime. Let's do our part to keep our community safe. To get more information about human sex trafficking, contact the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 888-373-7888. And so some people say, well, D.A. Howard, we don't really hear a lot about sex trafficking here in Middle Georgia. So, sometimes people talk about things because, there are concerns other places, and we just like to talk about them as buzzwords. Well, this is why your DA's office is involved in human and sex trafficking awareness, right? This statistic right here, 84% of sex trafficking victims were also victims of childhood sexual abuse. Okay, so predators have a pool of individuals to already prey upon with this statistic alone. And these people who were once child victims are being re-victimized. And I want to stop that as your district attorney. Right now, we have 92 open cases in our office of children who are victims of child sexual abuse. 92 in the circuit. And so if we do not offer, number one, if we don't get justice, right, and make sure their voices are heard, but then if we don't offer these individuals, these 92 children, if we don't offer them hope and services and build their confidence so they can say, how do I feel? I feel encouraged, right? Then they are more likely to become victims of sex trafficking. So that is why this matters to your district attorney, because I don't want them to be re-victimized. So what does that statistic mean? That 78 of those children who are victims of child sexual abuse, if we don't do something, with that statistic, 78 of them will be victims of human and sex trafficking. Well, you have a DA that's going to do something. So we partnered, and we continue to partner with Out of Darkness. I saw some folks here from Out of Darkness. I want to thank you all for that partnership. We partnered with them to present our human trafficking symposium at Mercer University, so that we can talk about this data and these statistics, so that we can focus on prevention. Now, we did something that we haven't done before. Many of you know, or have heard at least, about the district attorney in Fulton County, Fonnie Willis. Well, Fonnie is a very, very good friend of mine, and oftentimes she likes to get me involved in things, and sometimes I tell her no. I know y'all see her on TV, and it appears nobody can tell her no. I tell her no. But she had a great idea. She had a great idea of doing a leadership summit. She is a career prosecutor. I'm a career prosecutor. We know how to prosecute, but oftentimes as prosecutors, we don't necessarily, we focus on how to prosecute a case and not necessarily leadership skills. And we wanted to provide those leadership skills to our team. So her idea was she was going to bring her team, which consisted of about her office of over a little over 400 employees. She was going to bring her team, about 100 individuals, to Middle Georgia, to Macon. She'd been here. She loves Macon. She was going to bring them here, and I was going to do this entire summit. And I said, well, whoa. I'm going to invite my people, but, there's this company. And so I had gone to this conference, another National District Attorneys Association conference, and there's a company called Vera Casa, and it's ran by two women. One who used to be a public information officer, and the other that used to be a 4-time elected DA. And they have seen it all when it comes to leadership. And so we were able to get them to come, and they did that leadership summit for us. They provided resources. They provided real life examples. And I had my leadership team. She had her leadership team. We're so thankful to our mayor, Mayor Miller. He provided that day was going to be the Anita Howard and Fonnie T. Willis Day. So we were excited about that. And as soon as Dr. Ficklin presented the proclamation, Fonnie told them to go put it in her car. So I don't have one. But, so I guess she does get what she wants from me sometimes. So that was exciting. We were able to go to Crawford County, and we toured Camp Grace. Sheriff Walker came out, their county manager. Sharon Sanders came out. And so we just had a great time there. So I don't know if many of you saw this. I got the award in 2022 for Woman of the Year from the Women Works Media Group. I was excited about that. We had a great time that night. It was just a great time to come together as women and just encourage one another. And I had one young lady that was there. She was a law clerk in my office, and she had not passed the bar. And she was feeling really down. I think the bar results came out 2 days before this. She was already planning on coming. She was like, well, I don't know if DA Howard's going to want me to come because I didn't pass the bar. And, somebody told myself, of course I want her to still come. But the blessing of it was sometimes we have to be transparent. We want to we have it all together, and we may have it all together now. But there was a time we did, and there was one young lady that received an award. She's been an attorney now. I say young, but she's been an attorney now for 20 years. But the first thing she said was, I had to take the bar twice. And that young lady felt so encouraged to know that here she is standing on this stage. But 20 years ago, she was in the same situation that, she found herself in. And so that, again, allowed her to feel encouraged. So we had a wonderful night. You've seen us out in the community doing various community events. Often people say, well, how can I become involved? These are some of the things that we have done. If there's something that you're having, let us know. We talked about those RISE dollars. we want to make sure that everyone in the communities knows about the RISE initiative. We have RISE ambassadors. We have a RISE ambassador program. And so if you want to become a part of that program, just get with any member of my team and we will get you signed up for our next RISE training. One of the things that we also support is Taste of Blue, Taste of Juice, and then the Faith in Blue for our law enforcement. We're huge supporters when it comes to anything that law enforcement is doing. We've had a lot of record restriction events, but now with the deaths, we're hopeful that we can centralize those record restriction events. And the bottom line of this, y'all, is that we have a community and we have people that are in need. And we must remember the least of those among us, the often not thought about, the lost, and that is what we are here to do. And so I love this. Do all the good you can in all the ways you can, to all the souls you can, in every place you can, at all the times you can, with all the zeal you can, as long as ever you can. And so I want to say thank you again for coming to our 3rd annual Changing the Face of Justice Day. Get involved. We've got a lot of initiatives. Get involved. I know my team has asked. You see the setup outside there with the step and repeat. There's going to be a camera out there. I know many of you have been to Changing the Face of Justice Day every year. I see Rick Waller, our public defender, and Tamika Fluker, our assistant chief. I see Judge Pam White Cobra. I shouldn't call names because I'm going to miss somebody. That happens every time. Charge it to my head, not my heart. But there are people who've been here every year. I want to talk about why you continue to come. Rick, don't say because I make you, because I don't. You want to be here. No, I'm just saying, sir, you're in. But, talk about why you continue to come and what you learn when you come and maybe what you would like to see next time. Because we're so thankful for your presence here. And God bless each and every one of you. And again, thank you, thank you, thank you. Help us to offer hope. Believing in yourself, believing in others, and making sure that children believe in their dreams. That's the mission. Thank you.